Hi and welcome back to this video. As you can see, the cube is now fully complete. It's in the Perspex box. So I thought I'd now just go over actually what animations and features this cube has got. Run through the remote control, but also run through the application you can put on a mobile phone or a tablet. Briefly perhaps go over the software that you can go on the Windows PC, and maybe also with that actually try out the USB serial cable. And also actually show the audio from the line in. So it's all connected up to just a fairly simple power bank. And what I'll do is I'll just turn the lights off and we'll start the cube up and we'll see what it can actually do. So initially when you power it on, it goes through a self-test procedure. So it basically illuminates each of the vertical planes, each of the horizontal planes, and each of the planes going sort of back to front. So it's sort of left to right, bottom to top, and front to back. So at this point you can press the front panel if you want to change modes, and just by pressing the front panel button it just cycles through I think it's 4 different modes, but you can also do that through the infrared remote control. So the first mode you'd get either from the front panel is if you press what looks like the power button on the remote control. So just press that and you get what looks like a 2F on the display, and then the cube starts to run through a set of predefined animations. So here you can see it doing a countdown, it's got a roll around the top, and then it does some dropping to the bottom. Now if you look at this, it does seem to spell things out. It's not going to be perfectly clear for you guys because just the way I've got the camera positioned. I might just bring the brightness up just a touch. But it is dropping some letters. I don't think they are English characters. I think they might be Chinese characters. So I'm not quite sure what they are. But what you can do is, when you're in the animation mode, you can use the number 1 button on the keypad to go back 1 animation. You can use the number 3 button on the keypad to go forward 1 animation. And you can use the number 2 button to actually reset the animation back to the starting one. So we can go reset back to start. Actually, that wasn't reset back to start. Sorry, 3 on this is reset back to start, sorry. One goes back 1, and 2 seems to go forward. That's slightly different to some of the other modes where actually the left of the 3 buttons across the pad, so the 1, 2, 3, the left one goes back, the right hand one goes forward, and the middle one resets. It seems to be slightly different for the animation mode. So you can sort of scroll through these, pick different ones, and there's a variety of actual animations here you can actually pick and go through. If you just leave it, it'll scroll through them automatically. I quite like that one. So I'm just scrolling through let's have a beat one in the middle. So yeah, there's quite a few of those you can actually go through. I think it's 42 it claims, but yeah. The other mode you can do, again, if you now press it on the front panel, or you can do it on the remote, we can move it into the music mode. So this is where the actual cube reacts to music from the line jack in on the front. So getting to that from the remote control, you press the menu button. And for that then you get what looks like a music symbol there. So I'm just going to start some music up on the laptop. There we go, just the volume. Now, you're not hearing the music, because if I put music on this and it's copyrighted, I'm going to get a strike on this, so I'm just going to do it without that. Might just tone the volume down a bit, because I don't think it's reacting to this. And again, this has got a number of different music reactive modes that it just cycles through one after the other. This sort of animations. So this is sort of pulsing out from the middle as a cube. And we've got a variety of other ones in there. And again, a bit like the standard animations, you can use the numbers on the keypad to sort of go forward or back. Now for this particular one, it's the line of buttons which is 4, 5 and 6 on the keypad. So you press 4, it goes back one. If you press 6, it goes forward one, so that was the expanding square. Press back, it goes back to the sort of the 5 pillars. And then if you press the 5 button in the middle, it resets the initial one, which is the pulsing out from the bottom left corner. Now the other mode you can go into is to put it into a tablet mode, so you can use an app on a phone. So I'll just grab the tablet. Now what you have to do to get the tablet mode to work, there's an app which I'll link in the description, and on that you basically, when you turn the cube on, it's got a Wi-Fi module at the bottom. So if I just bring Wi-Fi module at the bottom, the cube's Wi-Fi module actually has an ID which is SSY_ESP8266. So what you can do is you can connect your laptop or connect your application to that. Just going to put music mode off for now. And use that effectively as your Wi-Fi router thing. So now I've got the tablet connected to that. This is the application you can run. It has a configuration at the top. It's got an IP address and a port. These are fixed, you don't change those. They're basically the IP address and the port of the Wi-Fi module on the actual cube itself. There is, however, a light adjustment here, so you can actually increase the brightness or reduce the brightness if you want to as it actually goes along. So go back to the main menu. You've got basically 5 options. You've got animation mode, which we've already looked at. We've got the audio mode, which again we've already seen. We've got the computer mode, so the phone computer mode, and the computer mode. So the phone mode is basically this one, and when you put it into this mode you get what looks like an umbrella, but I don't think it is. And you get basically the ability to actually sort of draw patterns on this grid on the screen. Now this 8 sort of tabs at the top here, if you click a button or click a square on the screen, you can actually see it fills in, and you can select another plane. So that's then the second set of planes back, or you can go one more in the middle at the back there, and you can do things like that. So effectively this is the layers from front to back. So you can, if you want to, just draw on this. You can also do things where if you sort of do that, then you can move it sort of up one, or down, or left, or right. It also looks as if you can sort of define animations in this if you wanted to, and you can sort of save them and then select them. So if we select the animation, I can't actually remember what these ones are now. Let's see what it is when it comes round. I'm not sure. That's probably just something random as I was trying this. So that's the animation mode. Now, the other mode you can do from the remote is to go into the computer mode. Obviously, if we go into this mode, that looks like, I'm not really sure quite what symbol that looks like. But this mode now, it's basically waiting for a connection on the 4-pin debug header. I'll show you that in a bit. So we'll just go back to some of the other modes. So you can actually access the animation modes from the tablet. So you can pick animation mode. We get the 2F again. And you can see it start to do the animations here. What's a bit nice about doing it through the tablet is that you can, if you want to, you can actually pick a particular one. Now, they're just rather unhelpfully named, just animation 1 to 45. But if we can pick, say, application 40, some animation 40, that one is that quite nice animation there. And it'll just basically keep running this one. If you select one, it just keeps running it. And you can, if you want to, you can speed it up. So we can do and that's slowing it down quite considerably. So if you want to, you can look through your animations and just see what they are. So the first animation was the one we initially saw. We powered the cube on and put it into this mode. And that is just a sort of a blind closing effect. And then the second animation was the numbers countdown and so on. So you can sort of find the animation you like and you can sort of pick one. I think this one says I love you, I think. Found that one again. Another mode on the tablet app or the phone app is one called Edit Animation. Now in Edit Animation, it looks like a tool or something on there. You actually seem to be able to put various animations actually into this. It seems to have the ability to remember 4 animations. So if I pick the first one. So the first one I basically had just a square or a cross, a square and an X. And I just basically designed that on the actual tablet squares here. So we can actually just try that. So if we just maybe do, effectively that's maybe number 1, so that's on layer 1. I can then go to layer 2. Just very roughly like a 2. Go to layer 3. Quite get that right, did I? Like that. If I go back to layer 1 again, I can then do send to the cube. And there we get the 1, the 2, and the 3. So it looks as if this animation, in the various planes or layers you do here, it brings them from the back to the front on that layer. Now, animation 2 does a similar sort of thing, but it sweeps from the left across. So again, at some point I put these animations in here, and you basically do it in a very similar way to what I just showed you. So you can for layer 1, if we just clear this so it looks a bit different. Maybe we put a square or something in, and then on layer 2, let's put a small square. Layer 3, we'll get rid of that one. Cross, or something resembling a cross. And then again, you go back to layer 1 and then you send that to it. It's a small square and a little cross. And then there's a third animation which again you program in a very similar way, and what it does for this one is rather than sort of sweeping it from one side to another, it drops the animation you've designed on here from the top down to the bottom plane. And again, I think it basically works if you define up to 8 different things, it'll drop those down as 8 different drops down to the bottom. The other thing you can also do on this particular edit animation mode is to, and it does seem to remember these by the way, so it does seem to remember these from power on or a different power thing. What you can do is the rotate letters. So at this point you've got the ability to actually put letters in here if you want to. So I think I've already programmed it with A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But again, you can do let's do cube. I'll find the B on this keyboard. You hit play, C, U, B, E, and it just keeps rotating that round. What I have found is that if you've previously stored characters in this, it seems to sort of remember them if you don't sort of clear them. And so it's actually got C, U, B, E, and then it's got some other letters from the A, B, C, D, F, G. So let's just go back to animation mode and just watch a few more of these for a moment. So the final mode we can put it into is the computer mode. You put it into computer mode, you get that symbol, or actually, before I do the computer mode, because I've got to move the camera to actually look at the computer screen. We can also show going through each of these modes again with either phone, or sorry, add the button on the front, or with the actual remote. So if you want to go into the phone mode on the remote, you press effectively what the button looks like, the play symbol. If you want to go into the USB mode, you press the button which is the test button. I think that's the one with the mouse. So if we go to the phone mode, we get that sort of umbrella thing. We go to the test mode, you get the USB the USB mode, and the other one, which is the edit animation mode, is what looks like an arrow going sort of cycling back on itself, almost a back arrow, and you get that sort of two in a symbol. And then this will again run through those modes I've shown you as it's programmed on the actual app. And in this particular mode, you can actually again use the number pad. This time it's 7, 8 and 9 to scroll through those animations. So 7 goes to the previous one. So the previous one where we were was the rolling letters. 9 goes to the next one. And 8 will reset it back to the first animation. So again, like I said, very similar to the other animation modes where you can use the line of buttons across to basically move your way forward or backwards through the thing. So I'm just going to pause a moment and we'll get the computer set up and we can see what we can do with that. Okay, if we put the cube into USB mode, talk to the computer. That's the test button on the remote, or you can scroll through the ones on the front panel button if you want to. And then we'll just go over and have a look at the computer. So here's the software you can actually download and use. It's called 3D8S Alpha. So we just run that. You get basic program starts, and the first thing you'll do is go to the connect. Now what you should be able to do then is, for example, pick one of the animations, and as you can see the cube then starts playing animation, and the various boxes up here show you the different faces of the actual cube. So it's the front face, the side and top down faces. So you can pick various different things, and if you want to you can speed them up or slow them down. So that's slowed down quite a bit. That's sort of a rising pattern. So the cube going from corner to corner. Now this doesn't seem to have the same number of animations that are built into the cube itself. Of this list, there's only actually 19. But you do see in this window here, the text output, these are the actual text commands that are being sent to the actual microprocessor. So it's the command byte of F2, and then there's the blocks of actual data. And you can start and stop and pause these if you want to. You can, if you want to, you can just click in here and design it yourself. And as you change this, it sort of downloads it. And this is actually lighting up the various pixels on the cube itself. There's also a custom menu where you can pick, again, pre-built one or predefined ones. And then you can sort of rotate. That's a cube rotating. There's an arrow that rotates. That's text scrolling around. There's even sort of Pac-Man chasing the Pac bits. And you can do things like that. It doesn't look as if you can save any of these, so you can't seem to add to any of these animations from within the GUI. There's nowhere to actually sort of stop this, because you can just edit this as well if you want to in the various places, but you can't actually save it. You can just do it, as it is for now, but you'll lose it as soon as you restart the actual software. So there are a few other buttons in here. You can change the brightness level. That doesn't actually seem to do anything useful. There's a few other buttons on this left-hand side, like all on, which does briefly put them all on or all off. If you've obviously got an animation running. I do not know what the mode button does. It doesn't seem to actually do anything. You can also, if you want to, have it do something with an MP3 player. I don't actually have an MP3 file to hand, but theoretically if you did, then you could play that through it. And I imagine it reacts probably in a similar way to having the line jack plugged into it. And once you're finished, you can then disconnect the cube if you wanted to. And you can go back to the other modes, so you can go back to sort of the animation mode and play that again. Just as an interest added bit, I did find something a little bit strange with this cube in how it reacts to IR input sources. So actually the camera I've got, which is videoing this, it uses an infrared laser depth sensor. But that seems to really react badly with the cube itself. I'll demonstrate that by, I've actually got a piece of blue tack over that particular sensor, because if I don't have the blue tack there, the cube flashes really violently and quite brightly. And it doesn't respond to the infrared remote. If I cover the sensor up on my camera, it behaves correctly. But as soon as I uncover the sensor, all the LEDs start flashing quite randomly. So obviously the IR depth sensor is triggering the IR input and causing the microprocessor to have a bit of a fit, really. So as long as, if you get that sort of behaviour, check out to make sure there isn't another source of IR being emitted somewhere in the vicinity of the cube, which is causing that. Because initially I actually thought it was a bad solder joint or something problem like that, and I had to hunt around for quite some time trying to look for the problem, and then it suddenly occurred to me that it only ever seemed to happen when I had the camera in front of the cube. So just as a bit of interest, that one. So I hope that was a useful sort of walkthrough of what the cube is capable of doing. I hope you enjoyed the actual build itself. What I'll do is I'll put in the description a few of the extra bits about what the buttons on the remote control do and things like that. I mean, there are lots of other things we could do with this in the zip file you get with all the software and things like that in it. They have instructions on where you can go and get design or software IDEs, integrated development environments, to actually rewrite the code on the boot module or on the actual IC itself if you wanted to. Now, I've not tried that, I've not looked into that as yet, but it might be something I want to have a look at later on. You could also, if you want to, there are other resources on the web, and the GUI program does sort of show it to some extent, that you can find ways of actually sending the data down to the cube. So you could probably rewrite the front end if you wanted to. So as long as you know what the instruction set is, the hex values you're going to send, you can then actually get maybe something like an Arduino or even the Raspberry Pi, actually sending animations to this cube over the USB serial. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Like I say, I hope you enjoyed it. Do like it if you like. Press the like button if you like this, and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, thank you for watching.